and I just feel more confident that I have actually managed to get over a really significant fear that's been with me since I was like 5 years old. And I just realised that I'd swum through, and then I was doing my synchronised swimming. I was so excited that I'd done it. When I was living here in Sydney in my early 20s, I started doing swimming lessons at Coogee, and that was really to learn the actual technique of swimming. But that was always in the pool at Coogee, and I never really got that confident in the sea itself. I used to go into the pool at Bondi, not Bondi, at Bronte, but I never could get into Bronte itself. But I was down there. The kids were little, and we were down at the beach every day. But I was really anxious that I didn't pass on my fear to them. So with them, I made sure that they did all of the swimming lessons and got taken out a lot. And they're both very, very competent in the water.
So what do you think it is about the beach that makes you so anxious?
I think there are so many unknowns, and not knowing what it is that I'm looking for is what makes me anxious about it. And that's why I found the lessons so helpful, because it wasn't just about being out in the water, but actually trying to understand where the rips are and what to avoid, and how to actually get out and what to take coming back. That kind of knowledge I found really, really useful.
So what made you decide that you couldn't go on being unconfident, you couldn't go on being anxious?
Couldn't go on being anxious anymore. I just thought, I was coming up for my 45th birthday and thought, I just can't. This is one of those things in life you've just got to get over. And I had looked in the past, but hadn't been able to find anyone who was working with people like me. It was mainly squads and nippers, and not nippers, but surf lifesaving. And so in fact, you the only company I found that really talked about the anxiety and took that seriously and used that as a way of getting people to become more confident in the water. When I think that by the end of last summer we actually did swim across Bondi, we swam about halfway across, and I just think that it's extraordinary, and so what was it that did it? It was becoming confident with understanding what I was feeling in the water, having that kind of constant knowledge that that it would be okay, that it would be all right, that we were actually somewhere that wasn't dangerous. And I know it was because you were there, and part of me also thought, well, I've got to be able to do this when you're not there, and that's why I continued to swim at the end of summer, and then more recently. So I just think it's just knowing now. I don't feel anxious about being here, which is probably the first time.
Do you remember the feeling when you first swam out through the waves, unguided by me?
Yeah, I do. I really do. That was hilarious, because Jerry was there as well, and you guys were kind of talking, and I just realised that I'd swum through, and then I was doing my synchronised swimming. I was so excited that I'd done it. Because it was windy that day as well, and it was overcast, and it wasn't not like today where it's absolutely perfect, and yet I did do it, and suddenly I was out there and I wasn't scared, and you didn't even have your floaty that day, so it was really, I really was, it was either I was going to do it or I was going to drown you by it. So
what do you think is the one thing that you've learned about the ocean that's made the most difference to your confidence?
I think it's actually understanding the way that the waves work, that understanding what I'm looking at. In the past, I would have naturally gone, particularly here at Bondi, I would have gone for areas where there weren't a lot of waves. And now I understand that actually that's probably where there are rips, and that's probably exactly where you don't want to be going out. Sighting was a really big thing as well. Starting to understand how to actually map where you are in the water and really position yourself, because I think that in some ways it makes the process smaller. Like when you're in the sea and there's everything, and not knowing like where to go, sighting, strangely enough, was really important, because I would just keep heading for that, and you will actually get there.
So how have you used your newfound confidence?
I'm really looking forward to this summer, because we ended up where I could swim across, and this summer I really do want to do one of those sea swims here in Sydney, and I think to be honest, I think it's just made me calmer about it's kind of more than swimming. It sounds silly, but it's been such a big issue in my life not to be able to do it, and I just feel more confident that I have actually managed to get over a really significant fear that's been with me since I was like 5 years old.
Do you have any advice for other people that have maybe were as anxious and uncomfortable?
Yeah, do it, do it, absolutely do it, and take the time to do it, and don't be upset by setbacks along the way, because I do think it takes a long time to build the fear, and it takes probably maybe not as long, but it takes a while to get rid of it as well, and understand that it's not just about swimming, it's about understanding the environment and kind of putting it all into context, and that it's okay. Some days you don't have to swim. If you're not comfortable with it, you don't have to do it.
What is your ultimate goal now that you've got your confidence?
I'd like to think that in the next year or two I could do the Bondi to Bronte swim. I really do like those charity swims, and I do little triathlons and things in Melbourne. So I'd really like to be able to think that I could swim out past the Heads and then around into Bronte and still be alive at the end of it.